evening, hello and welcome. You're watching Viewpoint. I'm Anusha Soni. From Chikmagaluru to Kalaburgi to Mandya, the Cauvery water wars have escalated sharply. Hundreds of members of pro-Kannada organization have taken to the streets across Karnataka. This is in protest against the release of Cauvery river water to the state of Tamil Nadu. The statewide bandh is currently in progress and hundreds of protesters have been taken into custody from various parts of the state. As a result of the protest, 44 flights were cancelled at the Bengaluru International Airport, leading to chaos as protesters gathered and shouted slogans. The dawn to dusk protest has disrupted normal life with transportation services, hotels, restaurants and other facilities across the state. All commercial establishments, including shops, malls, hotel, restaurant, you name a business, and it has been affected because it was closed. Autos and taxi services are unavailable under Section 144, which has been imposed in the city. Chief Minister Mr. Siddaramaiah has announced that the direction of the CWRC or the Cauvery Water Tribunal is not going to be implemented. That particular order that spoke of releasing the water to the state of Tamil Nadu will now be challenged at the Supreme Court of India. The BJP, on the other hand, is accusing the Congress government of favouring India's ally DMK, whose government is in Tamil Nadu right now. Once again, the Cauvery Bandh has cast a shadow over daily lives of ordinary citizens in Karnataka. Businesses closing, streets emptying, it is the Aam Aadmi who bears the brunt. As livelihoods are disrupted and routines thrown into chaos, the question remains, will this suffering ultimately lead to lasting solutions, or this will continue and at the cost of political incentives of various political parties? We talk about that story on Viewpoint tonight.
Karnataka Bandh is totally peaceful. We are seeing that no SR should happen. Nothing FSR is going on. All the people are cooperating. We have given full protection to everyone.
Out of the 34 taluks in Karnataka, which are situated in the Cauvery basin, 32 are declared as severely drought hit. Are they trying to approach this issue in this duplicit manner because it is going to help their India alliance partner, the DMK government, for 2024?
कल से हम ऐसे बैठे हुए अभी तक तो मिला नहीं, बस कल रात को यहीं पर बैठे हुए थे हम, इधर ही रह रहे थे, तो ऐसे चल रहा था.
Well, let's take this question to our guest as well, that this bandh has clearly affected the economy and the lives of people living in the state of Karnataka. The Cauvery River dispute is an old one. There's a Supreme Court order, multiple orders in fact, and a judgment as well. However, that has not resolved this dispute conclusively, at least the protest tells us so. Let's cut across to our guests who are joining us on the broadcast. We have Mr. Bhaskar Rao, the spokesperson from the Karnataka BJP. We'll have the Congress party, Dhruv Jatti, joining us in just a bit from now. We also have R.K. Upadhyay, who's a senior journalist, joining us on the broadcast. Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you so much for speaking with us. Mr. Rao, first to you. It seems like that the BJP has a lot of questions for the Congress party, the ruling party in the state of Karnataka, and rightly so. But on what basis do you argue, or does the BJP argue, that in some way Karnataka government is hand in gloves with the DMK because they're their allies? It's one of the statements that has been made so far.
People of Karnataka feel that the state's interests have been severely compromised for political purposes. That is number one. Number two, the facts of rainfall, inflow, position of water, etc. have not been presented before the CWMA to enable it to take a proper decision. These two reasons are the cause of great anger amongst everybody. Let us keep the politics aside. There is a government in place whose primary responsibility was to ensure drinking water is available for Bangalore city as well as the people around Bangalore city, and water is available for irrigation as well as for industrial purpose. On both counts, the government has severely failed, knowing very well from May, June onwards that there was a shortage of rainfall. Why did they not act? But they chose to please their DMK ally, which is a part of their India allowance or India alliance. That is the reason for anger. And you are talking about the anger of Aam Aadmi. Aam Aadmi is only expressing his anger now. If I know today inconvenience has taken place, but this is only an expression of anger and disgust against the government over there. The same people are going to be
I take all your points, and we'll have the Congress party in just a bit.
At
In just a bit to respond to all the charges you've made against the government.
I fully agree.
But I have one question for the BJP. One question for the BJP. This entire math of Bandh politics, the Congress party
can be follow. I fully agree with you.
You agree that Bandh cannot continue and it should not be supported in any form and manner?
See, Bandh is an expression of anger. It's an emotional outburst. How can you prevent collective outburst, madam? The government of the day, at least it should have assuaged. We are doing something. We are taking care of it. The government is not sensitive at all. And true bunds have taken place, which is not just one bund.
Well, sir, we thought that we are far ahead of that era where the bunds and were called in to disrupt the economy, and somehow people, their livelihoods versus the government, that narrative I believe is far gone. There are various ways in which you can protest, you can express yourself, and people should do that. It's a right under Constitution. But to shut down businesses like this, to disrupt normal lives in this manner, I believe it affects very adversely the economy of a growing and a thriving state like Karnataka.
I fully agree with you. But please go back one step and find out why it has taken place. Why government has failed to stop this Bandh by acting properly. Did it assuage the feelings of the people who have hurt? They feel cheated. Their anger. Their disgust. Bandh is not going to solve a problem. I fully agree with you.
All right, let's also move on and talk to Mr. R.K. Upadhyay, who is with us on the broadcast. Mr. Upadhyay, when we talk about this Bandh or the manner in which the lives have been disrupted, that's one thing most of us would agree that all right, you have an issue, whether it's the Cauvery water dispute or any other dispute, but to support a Bandh in this manner, even the government is accused that they did not really try to solve the problem. Instead, they went with a certain degree of a populistic approach when it came to this particular issue or problem.
Now, Bandh, I think, is an expression of frustration and anger among the people. I mean, they feel helpless. The way Karnataka has been boxed into a situation where they don't have water, but still Tamil Nadu keeps demanding more and more water. I mean, that's the whole problem. And then we have this Indie alliance, which is proving to be disastrous for Karnataka, I would say, because see, even before Tamil Nadu approached the court, 15 TMC of water Karnataka had released. That's because they had orders from Congress High Command in Delhi. So there has always been a problem when there is a shortage of water. For the last 7-8 years, we didn't face this because there was copious rains. But this year, it has been very acute shortage, and there is not enough water in the Cauvery Basin at all. I mean, I'll give you one piece of statistics. That is, KRS is one of the main reservoirs from which the water goes to Tamil Nadu.
Right.
It has 17 TMC of water, whereas in Metro across the border, today's figure shows they have 93 TMC of water. 93 as against 17. And they're still asking Karnataka to raise water, because they have a right over it. I mean, this is a historical injustice that has been done to Karnataka, and nobody seems to be, in a position to solve it. The whole problem has come up because of the iron-fisted activities of the Tamil Nadu government over 2 centuries. It was in 1898, first agreement was signed with Karnataka, and then 1924. When Karnataka was just a vassal state and Tamil Nadu or Madras state was under the British presidency. So they made sure that Karnataka always suffered when it came to the Cauvery dispute.
Yeah.
In 1974, this was supposed to extinguish the agreement, but Tamil Nadu said no. And so Karnataka feels that it has been done in by historical reasons, and also it continues even after the independence because of the various tribunals award, and then what this Karnataka the water management authority are doing.
Sandeep,
so I think all this has led to a situation where Karnataka people feel helpless, and now we are facing a drought situation. And I think if it doesn't rain another month or so, there could be rationing of water in Bangalore city. Bangalore city has a population of 1.3 crores. And it has about 30% of Tamilians
And,
living in Bangalore.
and we call it the IT capital of the country. There are so many other urban issues which are affecting the city of Bengaluru. The Bandh has already added to the woes of the city and various other urban centers. And I would argue the entire economy of the state has been affected. Sandeep, how is it that the IT capital of the country is able to deal with what's happening right now? It's a serious issue. It's before the Supreme Court, and the appropriate tribunals and courts in this country are going to decide what Karnataka and Tamil Nadu should do. That's what has been done earlier. There are protests which are happening, but this Bandh politics clearly dampens the sentiment of growth and development.
See, my response to this will be multifaceted.
Sure.
First of all, if you ask me how did the IT capital respond to this, there was a traffic grid jam day before because everybody were leaving town to go on a vacation. So the average citizen in Bangalore doesn't seem to be concerned about anything. They saw 5 days of continuous holidays, and so they left the city in a hurry, creating traffic jams. Now, coming to the point of the validity of the Bandh, see, first and foremost, we need to understand that citizens have to have a platform for venting, which is why our constitution legitimizes protest, it legitimizes dissent. So dissent is an essential aspect of democracy. Without that, we won't remain a democracy, it will become a dictatorship. So there is a legitimate need for people to be able to protest when things are not right, when the government is not performing to the citizens' satisfaction. Then we should even have the right to recall, but our constitution unfortunately doesn't provide it. So, but at least protesting is an absolute must. Now, how should this be facilitated? If you ask me, every legislature, every parliament building should have a protest maidan right outside it, because then citizens can remind their public servants every day that they are reporting to us citizens. These politicians tend to forget after they get elected. For the next 5 years, they don't care about the citizens. So if we had this facility where people can protest in front of the legislature every day on the issues of that day or whatever, then people don't have to resort to bandhs. People don't have to resort to protesting in other places. We can have a proper legitimate space for protests in front of the legislatures itself. Another thing is, I think we have to borrow a leaf from the UK Parliament. In UK Parliament, if you get about 1 lakh votes or 10 lakh votes to a petition, then the legislature has to pick it up as a matter of either as a bill. You can actually petition Parliament to.
Well, Sandeep, I really wish we had that participative democracy and those norms in our country. Unfortunately, that does not exist. What is heartening is that the Karnataka elections, the assembly elections were fought on the hyper-local issues. Bengaluru urban mess was a huge issue. But it seems like this Bandh politics, whether it's on the Cauvery issue or on some other issues that we've seen in the past, has only stifled the economy. Mr. Bhaskar Ram, coming back to you. When it comes to the present government, they have taken a position. They are saying we are going to challenge the orders of the Cauvery Water Management Authority before the Supreme Court of India, and the state has taken a position that it's going to look after its own interests. At multiple times, the Supreme Court has had to intervene, even in the past, that Karnataka must strike some kind of a balance when it comes to the interest of the state versus the interest of the neighboring states like Tamil Nadu. In this case, moving forward, do you agree with the approach that the state government has taken so far?
No, it is incomplete. At the very outset, the proper facts and figures of the state of rainfall, inflow, groundwater situation, failure of southwest monsoon, etc. should be highlighted before the CWMA. In fact, the CWMA is better informed than the petition itself. If you look at the affidavit submitted by Government of Karnataka, any common man can see that it has absolutely no facts and figures to highlight the suffering of the people of Karnataka. That is number one. Number two, we have to now set aside water politics, water fight and water wars. We have to enter the area of water statesmanship, not even water diplomacy. I would like to bring to your kind notice, in 80s, I think. M.G. Ramchandran, when he was faced with a severe drinking water problem in Chennai, Chennai used to get water from Red Hills, approached the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Shri N.T. Ramarao, with his entire set of ministers saying, brother, I don't have drinking water. How can you help me? I mean, there was humility and there was statesmanship and there was a genuine request for help.
Yeah.
Though Krishna River does not flow into Andhra Pradesh, does not flow into Tamil Nadu, 5 TMC of water was graciously given away by N.T. Ramarao to Chennai for drinking water purpose. This is called leadership and statesmanship. Why is it lacking today?
Yeah.
And today, madam, water is being divided between India and Pakistan, Indus River. Ganga water is being divided by the Farakka agreement between India and Bangladesh. Brahmaputra is being divided, distributed between 5 countries from China, Tibet, Burma, Bangladesh, India. There is no such kind of street fights. Why street fight within one state, within one country between 2 states? It is because severely there is lack of leadership and statesmanship. That is one. Number 2, there is a complete lack of distress formula sharing. Now, Karnataka is not even able to supply about 100 TMC of water as per the agreement because there is no water. Last year, Karnataka ensured that 660 TMC of water flowed inside Tamil Nadu through Biligondlu. Biligondlu is the place where the water is measured across. Now, both of them need to sit together and have water storage facilities for Karnataka as well as for Tamil Nadu. That way, Tamil Nadu has been smarter than Karnataka because they were placed legally.
No, but Mr. Rao, the problem that emerges is that these issues are not seen as some kind of administrative issues or the issues of resource allocation that should be tackled. They rather become a subject of political egos and political battle between different states because the parties ruling the states are very, very different. The centre is also in a precarious situation because it is often asked to meddle. And then these matters drag at the tribunal and at the courts. The farmers are suffering. The local people in different states are suffering. It's only because administratively we've not been able to resolve a conflict like it should have been. Mr. Upadhyay, do you think the politics around this entire issue has somewhere shrouded the solutions that should have been on the table, and that's why you have the bandhs which are being offered as some kind of solutions?
No, absolutely. I think if both the states
Mr.
sit together,
Mr. Upadhyay.
Yeah, I know if both the states sit together and work it out, it is possible. You see, in a distress year, you know how much of water has come and how much of rain has come. I mean, now everything is recorded and everybody knows how much of water is there in each state. So unless you work out as to how do we deal with the situation, it will not help. See, Tamil Nadu is sticking to whatever has been allotted to it. See, last year, as Bhaskar Rao was saying, that Karnataka has released 660 TMC of water, and that's not taken into consideration. They want, as stipulated by the tribunal, week by week supply every year. And and it's not possible when there's no rain. See, rain depends on natural when it's not happening, how will Karnataka supply it? So that has been the crux of the problem. I mean, Tamil Nadu should stop, behaving like an unscrupulous moneylender who will never, agree that, his loan has been cleared. He keep on building up on what has not been given last year, and then you say you still have to give so much more. How is it possible? I think that is where the statesmen should come in, and the political leaders of both the states should sit together and then discuss it and work it out. And there's a lot of wastage of water that's happening in both the states, in Karnataka as well as Tamil Nadu.
Interesting.
In Bangalore
Interesting
city
that you
also
make
there is a 15% leakage of drinking water which is being supplied. This has to be plugged. And
Professor Chandan Gaura is also joining us on the broadcast. Professor Gaura, first your thoughts on the bandh that we saw today. Nobody is underestimating the severity or the importance of the problem that states like Karnataka and Tamil Nadu are facing, especially with lower rainfalls and a drought-like situation. The supply of water is critical to both the states. The matter is sub judice. It will be heard in the Supreme Court in all likelihood once again. But is bandh really the solution to it?
Bandh is not a solution to it. If you notice, there were 2 bandh calls. There was one bandh on 2 days ago, and one today. Today, it is predominantly the pro-Kannada organizations And if you just think about why two bandhs, and the previous bandh was called by political parties mostly. Also, there were a couple of farmers' organizations also there. So, what is immediately detectable is that the issue of Kaveri is something that different sorts of groups have tried to represent as something that they deeply care for, and they are better representing the cause of the needs of Karnataka, the water needs of Karnataka.
Yeah.
And really, if everyone was united on that, they should all have come together on the same day. But there is there are different attempts at claiming that legacy of. Please remember, this is an old issue. It's been there for a couple of decades now, and the same, the Kannada organizations have tried to make it their issue, and political parties have to make it their issue, but they turn it against the Congress government in this case because Congress and the DMK are part of one coalition, so they try to make it, you're not doing enough.
Is there any factual accuracy to those allegations? Because I don't see any, for the simple reason that they have to fight it out in the Supreme Court of India. It's not a political dialogue they have to have and settle the matter under, under the pretext of really sorting it out between the two states. It's adversarial litigation, so they can't really have an understanding about it.
Yeah, but this is exactly what is the point, ma'am. See, that the law can decide on one course of action. Then the demand, and the Karnataka has felt that the judgment of the Supreme Court has been unfair to Karnataka's farmers and to the drinking water needs of the state.
Sure.
So they feel it's okay for us to put pressure on the state government to go against the tribunals or the regulatory authority.
I believe Mr. Bhaskar Rao has a point to make. Mr. Rao, please go ahead.
The government of the day had decided to do something. They could have at least assuaged the people, saying that we are doing something, acted, instead of being absolutely indifferent. The chief minister and the deputy chief minister are at loggerheads over there. And they have no patience to even talk decently to the farmers. The agriculture minister has been telling, Tamil Nadu needs water, we must give water to them. Then the agriculture minister tells the Mandya farmers, now don't plant rice and sugarcane. You plant ragi as well as less water berry crop. What kind of sensitivity the state, this government came to power only about 4 months ago. And within that period, it has become so arrogant and so insensitive. That is the reason we all feel very upset and very let down. You are right. Bandh is not going to solve any problem. Bandh is only an expression of anger, frustration. So the only solution that is in front of us right now is that both chief ministers should talk and resolve this issue immediately on their own, and the actual position should be seen by a team.
Mr. Upadhyay, 44 flights were cancelled today. The entire urban infrastructure in the city of Bengaluru was disrupted. Section 144 was in place at different locations. The economy came to a screeching halt. The life for a common person came to a screeching halt. Is this really a manner in which disputes in 21st century by the world's biggest democracy are going to be solved? I mean, what kind of image does it project, that if it's a dispute between the two states, would it really bring the economy of a state like Karnataka, one of the best performing states on various indices, to a halt of this nature?
That is really the tragedy, because I think, the way it affects the economy, the brand image of Bangalore city, I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, I think every Bangalorean feels sorry about it. But, I think the level of frustration, the level of, helplessness, I would say, have made people to support this. And I don't think anyone in his heart of heart, wants to support a bandh like this. Like, we didn't have this kind of a support for last 7-8 years. How has it happened this time now? And, and it was spontaneous. People didn't had to go around, forcing people to close.
Yeah.
Because they feel that, this has become so grave that we need to say something to the people, I mean, to the authorities, that they realize that the situation is very grave. So what the two states and the central government have to do is what they used to do earlier, that they sit together and talk. The Prime Minister would call the two chief ministers, and then, he would find out the solution. That's the only way I find that it can be done. See, earlier we had this Cauvery River Authority headed by the Prime Minister. That has been taken away by this new law. So now, see, unless there is a political dialogue, I don't think this can be resolved legally.
this
This
can be
is not
resolved.
an issue which can be resolved legally.
Exactly.
This has to be,
Yeah.
I have to find a political solution. And for that, both the states should agree and sit and discuss.
Well, that model has been tried earlier as well, and even judicial orders haven't really helped. I'm going to take closing comments from everyone. Sandeep, the word from you. Is there a disconnect in terms of issues? While the farmers in coastal Karnataka have all the right to be very worried, and in different parts of Karnataka, especially which are feeling the effects of drought and low rainfall, which has been reported in different parts, even in Tamil Nadu, similar situation has been witnessed. But in urban centers, as you said, a lot of people have just taken a long weekend off and gone out of the city. Is there a clear disconnect? The classic rural-urban divide that we talk about.
No, Anusha, it is not a urban-rural disconnect or something like that. Bengaluru will suffer the most. If once the water goes to Tamil Nadu, Bengaluru is already suffering a water shortage. Not only is Cauvery water supply deficient right now in most parts of the city, first of all, the Cauvery water is supplied only to half of the city. The rest of the city was depending on groundwater. Now groundwater is dried up literally. So now wherever Cauvery water supply is deficient, like if it doesn't come for a week or two, when people contact tankers, even they don't have water.
Yeah.
So Bengaluru is actually walking into a day zero situation right now. It is a city that will suffer the most. People who have gone on a vacation now will have to permanently leave the city in another year. So that is how grave and serious the problem for the city is. For farmers, it is equally grave because for them, they have become dependent on irrigation and water levels have been falling over the years.
Yeah.
A lot of farmers are in extreme pain. Now, as all your other panelists are talking, the judiciary cannot actually give a solution. Neither can politics, let me tell you. Why? Because the water level is reducing. Cauvery is drying up year on year. As the waters reduce...
I have last 1 minute on the show, and I do want to bring in Mr. Rao as well. I have one last minute on the show. Mr. Rao, 30 seconds to you.
I'll quickly tell you this.
If judiciary is not the last word, I'm not speaking legally, but in terms of this problem cropping up multiple times, how is it that we can settle this dispute in some form of conclusive manner? Mr. Rao, 30 seconds.
Immediately, a Delhi technical team should come from Delhi and look at the situation and advise the CWMA whether Karnataka is still in a position to release water or not. That is first.
All right.
And number two, both the chief minister should talk to each other.
Mr. Gowda, do you agree with that suggestion that that's the way to go forward instead of these bandh calls?
Absolutely. The bandhs won't happen if there is a perception that things is being treated fairly, right? I mean, see what even the Supreme Court has suggested this time, we won't interfere. Let the Water Management Authority go there and decide for itself what the ground realities are and decide how much water Karnataka can afford to leave. So the situation has to be dynamic and context sensitive. You can't have one model to hold for years to come. Okay. It has to be a dynamic, contextually driven model that changes from week to week. As you can see, the water release capacity is already changed from 5,000 cusecs to 3,000 cusecs. That is some index of someone is thinking, but for this to be accepted as a solution, a lot more has to be done to build legitimacy.
I remember this discussion at the Supreme Court as well before the 2018 final judgment had really come out that this water dispute requires political solutions and political solutions rarely come from judicial corridors. On that note, thank you gentlemen for joining us on the broadcast. I'm very sorry, sir, that's all the time that I have today. I'm sure we'd keep discussing the story in the days to come. We're slipping into a very short break, but on the other side, graft charges rock CBFC. Tamil actor Vishal flags corruption. He joins me live on the other side of a quick break. Stay tuned.